Well, thank you very much, Jana. It's a real pleasure for me to be here this evening. This is my second go-around as Minister of Highways and Public Works, but the first in my second go-around in politics, I guess, as Minister of this exciting portfolio. When you look through the individuals that are members of this Hall of Fame and the individuals that have received awards, in the past, I think the one thing that I would like the opportunity, or would have liked the opportunity to do, is sit down in a room with each and every one of them and just listen to their stories, whether it's over a coffee or a beer, I guess, or whatever they preferred to do. So, you know, it's a real history of the Yukon when you look at this list, and the winners this evening as well will only add to that honored group of individuals that have really built the Yukon and opened up the Yukon for all of us. So it is indeed my pleasure, my honor to be here this evening to present the 2015 Yukon Transportation Hall of Fame Pioneer of the Year Award. This award is presented to individuals who ventured into unknown or unclaimed territory, who opened up new areas of thought, research, or development, who made a major contribution affecting or advancing the transportation industry, or who were involved in an activity connected with the movement of goods and or people in our territory. I'm honored this evening to present this award to Mr. Ben Warnsby and Mr. Mike Stutter. The contribution to Yukon transportation history from these individuals epitomizes the pioneer spirit. First, let's get to know a little bit about both men before we get into the specifics surrounding their being honored here this evening. Both Ben and Mike were born in England and later emigrated to our country. Ben was born in Lincoln, England on October 23rd, 1929. Always a hard worker, he began work at the age of 14 at the Lincoln Power Plant. The bombing of Britain during his teen years was to have a lasting influence. He attained the rank of corporal during 2 years' conscription in the British Army with the Royal Engineers, stationed on the sea forts in the Thames estuary. He returned to work at the power plant until emigrating to Canada in 1952. Ben worked his way across the country, arriving in Dawson City on May 6, 1953. He went to work for the Yukon Consolidated Gold Corp, or YCGC, at the North Fork Power Plant, where he made many lifelong friends, including his soon-to-be business partner, Mike Stutter. Mike was born in Alresford, England on May 2, 1931. He left England in 1948 by boat to St. John's, and then traveled west by rail to Calgary and hitchhiked to Caroline, Alberta. Mike spent 5 months trapping above the Brewster Ranch before buying and operating a lathe mill. He eventually headed north, arriving in Dawson in 1954. Mike worked at a sawmill, at wood cutting, and at carpentry jobs before gaining employment with the YCGC at North Fork, where he met Ben. He was transferred to the YCGC engineering department in Bear Creek a year later. The real adventure began on June 5, 1961, when Ben and Mike purchased the Brainstorm riverboat, and the Brainstorm freighting service was formed. The wooden riverboat Brainstorm carried all types of goods to and from Old Crow. It supplied the groceries for Joe Nitro's store, fuel for Yukon Electric, the RCMP, and the nursing station, as well as building supplies and gasoline. It also transported muskrat pelts from Joe Nitro yearly on the first return trip to Dawson City. The riverboat's route followed the Yukon River to Fort Yukon, then up the Porcupine River to Old Crow, a distance of almost 700 miles. The average round trip took about 10 days, traveling 24 hours a day. There were times where this trip could take up to 2 months if water levels were low. The company also freighted on the upper Yukon, carrying supplies for mining companies and individuals. The Brainstorm Freighting Company was essential to keeping supplies flowing to some of the more remote northern regions of Yukon until it was sold and ceased operating in 1974. During its time, it provided a vital link in the transportation of goods and was integral to both businesses and private citizens. Ben and Mike continued to work together throughout their careers. During the 1960s, they purchased the Orpheum Theatre in Dawson, showing weekly movies. Mike eventually became the sole owner of the theatre a year later, while Ben became a part owner of the DCW Trading Post. Mike also became active in local and territorial politics. He served as an alderman in Dawson City and as a territorial councillor for Old Crow and Dawson. He was also a member of the Yukon Water Board. In 1970, Ben and Mike formed the Maiben Mining Company, and together they worked claims on Dago Hill on Hunker Creek until 1995. In 1999, Ben bought out Mike's interest and then eventually sold the claims in 2001 and officially retired, although he remains active in various business ventures here in the Yukon. Mike retired to Preston, British Columbia, where he has remained active in community affairs. It's truly remarkable to see the partnership formed between Mike and Ben and what they were able to accomplish. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to invite Mr. Ben Warnsby and Mr. Mike Stutter to accept the 2015 Transportation Hall of Fame Pioneer of the Year Award.
My name is Ben Warnsby, and I'd just like to thank everyone for turning up tonight to give us support. And